The orphan of the starfall. The vast emptiness of space stretched before Zara Novak like an endless canvas of darkness, punctuated by pinpricks of distant starlight. Her fingers danced across the control panel of the research vessel Horizon, monitoring the intricate web of sensors scanning the uncharted quadrant of the Andromeda sector. 17 months into their deep space exploration mission, Zara had grown accustomed to the rhythmic hum of the ship's systems and the companionable silence of her crew. Commander Drake Harrison sat in the captain's chair, his weathered face illuminated by the soft blue glow of holographic displays. A veteran of countless deep space missions, Harrison possessed an intuition that bordered on the supernatural. "Novak," he called, his voice cutting through the ambient noise, "run a diagnostic on the long-range quantum scanners. Something feels off." Zara nodded, her fingers already moving across the interface. She'd learned early in her career never to ignore Harrison's instincts. The commander had survived encounters that would have killed lesser explorers, and his gut feeling had saved their mission more times than she could count. The quantum scanner's resolution began to shift, revealing subtle anomalies that hadn't been present moments before. A strange energy signature flickered at the edge of their detection range. Not quite electromagnetic, not quite gravitational, but something entirely different. "Commander," Zara called, her voice tight with concentration, "I'm detecting an unusual quantum disturbance. It doesn't match any known energy profile in our database." Harrison leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. On screen, the main viewing panel shifted, revealing a shimmering tear in the fabric of space. It was unlike anything Zara had ever witnessed, a translucent membrane that seemed to pulse with an inner light, rippling like liquid crystal. "Quantum anomaly is expanding," reported Lieutenant Marcos from the science station. "Readings are off the charts. We should." His words were cut short as the anomaly suddenly burst open. A small object, no larger than a standard cargo pod, came tumbling through the dimensional rift. The ship's automatic collision avoidance systems screamed to life, but Harrison was already making micro-adjustments to their trajectory. "Retrieve that object," he commanded, carefully. The tractor beam engaged, drawing the mysterious pod into the Horizon's secondary airlock. Zara's heart raced. First contact protocols were clear, but nothing could truly prepare a crew for an unexpected arrival from beyond known space. As the airlock's decontamination sequence completed, Zara and Harrison approached with measured caution. The pod was constructed from a material that seemed to shift between solid and liquid states, its surface covered in intricate, almost organic patterns. A soft sound emerged from within, a whimper that was both alien and achingly familiar. With practiced precision, Harrison activated the pod's release mechanism. The material rippled and separated, revealing two small figures. They were humanoid but unmistakably not human. Their skin was a pale silvery blue, adorned with delicate luminescent lines that pulsed with a soft inner light. Large, almond-shaped eyes, a deep violet that seemed to contain entire galaxies, blinked up at Zara and Harrison. Infant twins, no more than a few months old, huddled together. They appeared fragile yet somehow ancient, as if carrying the weight of millennia in their gaze. "My God," Zara whispered, "what are you?" The twins made no sound, but something profound passed between them. A connection that transcended language, a communication so subtle that Zara could only sense its edges. Harrison's voice was unusually soft. "We can't leave them. Whatever brought them here, whatever conflict or catastrophe, they're survivors." Zara nodded, understanding the unspoken decision. These children, whoever or whatever they were, had just become their responsibility. Little did they know that the twins' arrival marked the beginning of a journey that would reshape humanity's understanding of its place in the universe. The Horizon continued its trajectory through the star-studded void, now carrying not just a research crew, but the first seeds of an interstellar mystery that would challenge everything they thought they knew about life, consciousness, and connection. The quantum anomaly that had delivered the twins slowly closed behind them, leaving no trace, as if the universe itself was holding its breath, waiting to see what would unfold. Shadows of first contact. The sterile white walls of the Horizon's medical bay hummed with anticipation. Dr. Elena Rodriguez adjusted her quantum resonance scanner, her hands moving with the precision of a surgeon and the curiosity of a scientist on the brink of a groundbreaking discovery. The twin infants lay side by side on a specialized examination table, their silvery blue skin seeming to shimmer with an inner light that defied conventional understanding. Lieutenant Marcus Reese stood in the corner, his military posture a sharp contrast to the wonder etched across his face. Their physiological makeup is extraordinary. Elena muttered, more to herself than to her colleagues. Cellular structures that suggest advanced regenerative capabilities. Neurological patterns that indicate a level of interconnectivity we've never seen before. Commander Harrison watched from the observation window, his weathered hands clasped behind his back. Zara Novak stood beside him, her earlier excitement tempered by a growing sense of responsibility. "They're not just survivors," Zara said softly. "There's something more." Marcus stepped forward, his voice professional but tinged with an undercurrent of concern. "We need to report this to Central Command. These children represent a first contact scenario unlike anything in human history." Elena's scanner beeped, drawing everyone's attention. A holographic display flickered to life, revealing complex molecular structures that seemed to dance and reshape themselves in real time. Their DNA, if we can even call it that, is unlike anything in our genetic databases. It's adaptive, almost intelligent. The twins chose that moment to move, not a typical infant's uncoordinated wiggle, but a synchronized motion that suggested a profound connection. Their violet eyes, impossibly large and deep, seemed to scan the room, taking in every detail with an awareness that belied their apparent age. "They understand," Harrison said quietly. It wasn't a question. A sudden alarm cut through the medical bay's calm. The ship's quantum communication array began to pulse with an incoming transmission, a signal so complex that it momentarily overwhelmed the ship's primary systems. Marcus rushed to the communication station, his fingers flying over the interface. "It's not like any transmission protocol we've ever encountered. It's adaptive, changing its own encryption in real time." Elena approached the twins, her scientific skepticism warring with an inexplicable sense of connection. As she drew closer, the luminescent lines on their skin began to pulse in a rhythmic pattern that seemed almost like communication. "They're trying to tell us something," she breathed. The transmission resolved into a series of geometric patterns, then briefly into what looked like a star map, but not of any known galactic region. Coordinates danced across the screen, then dissolved into a cascade of mathematical equations that seemed to defy known physical laws. "This is beyond first contact," Zara said, her voice a mixture of awe and apprehension. "This is something else entirely." Harrison's communication device chirped. The encrypted channel from Central Command carried a message that sent a chill through the room. "Horizon," he advised. "Multiple unidentified quantum signatures detected in your sector. Proceed with extreme caution. Do not, I repeat, do not attempt direct communication." But it was already too late. The twins' eyes locked onto Harrison, Zara, Elena, and Marcus in turn. In that moment, each of them felt a presence wash over them, a consciousness that was both alien and strangely familiar. Memories flickered at the edges of their perception. Glimpses of distant worlds, echoes of a conflict beyond human comprehension. And then, as quickly as it began, the moment passed. The medical bay returned to its sterile calm. The twins lay peacefully, once again appearing as nothing more than two mysterious infants found adrift in the vastness of space. But something had changed. The horizon, and everyone aboard, had been marked by an encounter that would reshape their understanding of existence itself. Outside the ship's viewport, space stretched into infinity. But now, that infinity seemed far more complex, far more alive than anyone had ever imagined. The cosmic inheritance, 5 years had passed since the mysterious arrival of the twins aboard the Horizon. Professor Victor Lindholm studied the children through the reinforced observation window of the Interstellar Research Complex, his lifetime of astrophysical research suddenly seeming inadequate in the face of these extraordinary beings. Zara Novak, now the primary guardian of the twins, stood beside him. The children, named Kai and Luma by the research team, played in a carefully designed environment that was part laboratory, part nurturing space. Their movements were fluid, almost choreographed, defying the typical developmental patterns of any known species. "They're not just adapting," Victor muttered, more to himself than to Zara. "They're evolving in real time." Kai, with his silvery blue skin, now showing more defined, intricate patterns, was constructing what appeared to be a three-dimensional model of a quantum system, not with blocks or traditional toys, but with pure energy, holographic projections that danced and restructured themselves with mathematical precision. Luma, meanwhile, seemed to be communicating with the complex's advanced computer systems. Her touch would cause entire walls to transform, displaying star charts, mathematical equations, and fragments of what looked like an alien language that seemed to pulse with its own living rhythm. Ambassador Kira Tanaka entered the observation room, her diplomatic smile barely concealing her deep concern. "The United Earth Council wants a full report," she said, her eyes never leaving the twins. "They're growing impatient. 5 years of observation, and we still know almost nothing about their origins." Zara's response was measured. "We know they're extraordinary. Their ability to interface with technology, their adaptive intelligence, their potential threat," Marcus Reese interrupted, entering the room. Now head of Sinological Security, he had never fully trusted the twins. Victor turned, his academic patience wearing thin. "They've shown nothing but curiosity and a remarkable capacity for understanding. Every test, every interaction suggests they're trying to communicate, to bridge a gap we can barely comprehend." A sudden change in the observation room drew their attention. Kai and Luma had stopped their individual activities. Their violet eyes, now more intense, more knowing, were focused on a single point in space that only they could see. The room's holographic systems erupted into life. Star systems unknown to human cartography began to form, complex, interconnected networks that suggested a galactic structure far more intricate than anything in human scientific understanding. "They're showing us something," Zara breathed. Fragments of a story began to emerge, of civilization far older than humanity. A conflict that spanned multiple dimensions, a desperate escape. The twins weren't just survivors. They were messengers, carriers of a legacy that threatened to reshape everything humans understood about their place in the universe. Luma's hand touched a interface, a voice, neither male nor female, neither human nor completely alien, filled the room. "The boundary between survival and inheritance is thin. We are the bridge." Marcus tensed, his hand instinctively moving to a concealed communication device, but Victor raised a hand, stopping him. "Wait," the professor said. "Listen." The holographic display shifted. Images of destruction, of a civilization caught in a conflict that defied linear understanding, and at the center of it all, two children, Kai and Luma, who seemed to be both the cause and the solution. "We carry the memory," the voice continued. "We are the key." Ambassador Tanaka stepped forward, her diplomatic training warring with a sense of something much larger than political boundaries. "The key to what?" The twins turned simultaneously, their eyes meeting those of every person in the room. In that moment, each felt a connection, a glimpse of a truth so vast, so complex, that it threatened to overwhelm human comprehension. Outside the research complex, the first of many quantum anomalies began to appear, small at first, but growing. Something was coming, and Kai and Luma were its harbingers. Whispers of a forgotten empire. The research vessel Starweaver hung in the void between known star systems, its quantum drive humming with a barely contained energy. Captain Rena Solberg studied the holographic displays, her fingers tracing the complex patterns that Kai and Luma had revealed during their last transmission. Dr. Omar Hassan, the mission's lead historian, leaned over a display filled with fragments of an ancient language. "These aren't just symbols," he muttered. "They're a living narrative. Each glyph changes subtly, adapting its meaning based on context." Kai, now 12 years old, stood at the ship's primary interface. His silvery blue skin seemed to pulse with an inner light that matched the rhythm of the ship's systems. Luma sat nearby, her eyes closed in deep concentration, multiple holographic projections dancing around her. "We're close," Kai said suddenly, his voice a mixture of childlike excitement and something far more ancient. "The resonance point is approaching." Rena exchanged a glance with Omar. In the 5 years since the twins had been discovered, they had grown from mysterious infants to beings that challenged every understanding of intelligence and potential. The Starweaver's quantum sensors began to oscillate. Space itself seemed to ripple, creating interference patterns that defied standard physical laws. Preparing quantum stabilization, Rena called out, her hands moving across the ship's controls with practiced precision. A massive holographic projection erupted in the ship's central chamber. It showed the remnants of a civilization, fragments of massive structures that seemed to be both technological and organic. Cities that breathed, machines that thought, a culture so advanced it blurred the line between technology and life itself. Omar gasped. "This is more than a historical record. It's a living memory." Luma opened her eyes. The ship's internal temperature dropped several degrees as she spoke. "Not a memory. A warning." The holographic display shifted, revealing a conflict of cosmic proportions. Massive energy weapons that could shatter entire star systems. Dimensional rifts that consumed entire civilizations. And at the center of it all, 2 figures that looked remarkably like Kai and Luma, but older, more powerful. "Our predecessors," Kai explained. "They were guardians, protectors of the dimensional balance." Rena felt a chill run down her spine. Protectors from what? The twins exchanged a look that suggested volumes of unspoken communication. Luma's response was deliberate. "From a threat that consumes realities, a force that sees existence as something to be consumed, not preserved." The ship's systems began to react. Quantum drives pulsed with an energy that seemed to come from somewhere beyond normal space. Star charts that had been carefully mapped by human scientists began to dissolve and reconstruct themselves. "We are approaching the boundary," Kai said. His voice carried a weight that seemed impossible for a 12-year-old. "The first point of convergence." Omar's historical research had prepared him for many scenarios, but nothing could have prepared him for what happened next. The ship seemed to pass through something, not a physical barrier, but a membrane of reality itself. Outside the viewport, space transformed. Familiar star patterns dissolved. New constellations emerged, shapes that suggested intelligence, patterns that hinted at a cosmic architecture far more complex than humanity had ever imagined. "The forgotten empire," Luma whispered. "Not lost. Just waiting." Rena gripped the ship's controls, her training warring with a sense of something far beyond standard protocol. "Where are we going?" Kai and Luma turned simultaneously, their violet eyes reflecting universes within universes. "Home," they said in perfect unison. "We're going home." The Starweaver continued its journey, carrying with it the first glimpse of a truth that would reshape human understanding of existence itself. Something was coming, and Kai and Luma were its harbingers. The Convergence Protocol. The United Earth Defense Complex trembled. Not from any physical force, but from the quantum resonance that pulsed from the central chamber where Kai and Luma stood. General Wei Zhong watched through reinforced glass, his decades of military strategy rendered obsolete by the 2 beings before him. Dr. Priya Chatterjee adjusted her quantum adaptive sensors, her scientific mind racing to comprehend the impossible. Kai and Luma were no longer children. At 16, they had transformed into something between human and something entirely beyond human comprehension. Their silvery blue skin now seemed to contain entire universes, shifting, breathing, alive with patterns of energy that defied known physics. The convergence is imminent, Kai stated. His voice resonated not just through the room, but through the very fabric of reality. Luma's response was a symphony of light and sound. Holographic projections erupted around them, showing multiple realities collapsing and reforming. Civilizations rising and falling in moments. Entire star systems breathing like living organisms. What are we looking at? General Zhang demanded, his military composure fracturing. Dr. Chatterjee's response was measured. A cosmic immune system. These projections suggest there's something that maintains balance between realities, and that balance is under threat. The twins turned in perfect synchronization. Their violet eyes held knowledge that would drive a normal human mind to madness. Not an invasion, Luma explained. A consumption. There are entities that feed on the potential of entire realities. They don't conquer, they devour. Quantum arrays across the complex began to react. Communication systems worldwide flickered. Satellites danced to an unseen rhythm. For a moment, every electronic device on Earth displayed the same cryptic message, a warning written in a language that existed between mathematics and poetry. General Zhang's communication device chirped, impossible coordinates, a meeting point. Not on Earth. Not in any known star system. We're being invited, Kai said. Not just humanity. Every surviving civilization. Dr. Chatterjee's sensors went wild. The readings suggested something impossible. Multiple realities were converging. Not fighting, not destroying, but communicating. The convergence protocol, Luma whispered. We are the bridge. Holographic displays showed fragments of civilizations, some so advanced they appeared as pure energy, others still struggling with basic technological challenges, but all connected, all part of something larger. Why us? General Zhang asked. Why humanity? Kai's response was both simple and profound. Potential, adaptability, the ability to transform. The room's temperature dropped. Reality itself seemed to bend. For a moment, everyone present saw glimpses of other versions of themselves. Alternate lives, paths not taken, possibilities that existed simultaneously. Dr. Chatterjee understood first. We're not just witnessing something. We're being prepared. Luma nodded. A war is coming. Not between civilizations, between existence and the void that wants to consume it. General Zhang felt something he hadn't experienced in decades. Fear, but also hope. What do you need from us? He asked. The twins exchanged a look that contained millennia of knowledge. Everything, they said in perfect unison. We need everything you are, and everything you could become. Outside, the sky began to change, not with clouds or storms, but with patterns of light that suggested something was approaching, something that would change everything humanity thought it knew about its place in the universe. The convergence protocol had begun. Guardians of two worlds. The convergence point existed beyond space and time, a nexus where reality itself became malleable. Kai and Luma stood at the center, no longer resembling the children they once were, but embodying something between cosmic architects and living conduits of universal consciousness. Representatives from countless civilizations filled the ethereal chamber. Some were humanoid, others defied description. Beings of pure energy, sentient crystals, collective consciousness that existed as intricate networks of thought. Commander Drake Harrison, now in his 70s, stood as humanity's primary representative, a testament to the journey that had brought them to this moment. The threat approaches, Luma announced. Her voice was no longer just sound, but a multi-dimensional communication that resonated through every being present. A vast darkness began to consume the edges of the chamber. Not black, but something worse. An absence, a hunger that threatened to erase not just life, but the very concept of existence. Kai's explanation came in waves of understanding that transcended language. The void consumers are more than an enemy. They are a fundamental force that seeks to reduce all potential to absolute zero. Every reality, every possibility, becomes fuel for their endless hunger. The assembled civilizations listened, some with fear, some with determination, but all understanding the stakes. Commander Harrison stepped forward. When Zaranovic found you as infants, he addressed the twins. We had no idea we were saving more than 2 lives. We were preserving a key to universal survival. The chamber shifted. Memories became tangible. The moment of discovery aboard the horizon, the years of research, the gradual understanding of Kai and Luma's true nature. They were not just survivors. They were guardians engineered to be the immune system of reality itself. Humanity's role is unique, Kai explained. Your species exists in a quantum state of potential. You are both the most fragile and the most adaptable civilization we have encountered. Holographic displays showed humanity's history, its conflicts, its moments of destruction, but also its incredible capacity for innovation, empathy, and transformation. Wars gave way to cooperation. Technological leaps emerged from moments of deepest challenge. The void began to press closer. Reality started to dissolve at the edges of the chamber. We need a conduit, Luma announced. A collective consciousness that can resist the consumption. Commander Harrison understood first. Not just humans, he said, but a coalition. Every civilization contributing its essence. The process began. Not a battle in any traditional sense, but a complex weaving of potential. Each civilization contributed its unique understanding. Mathematical models from hyper-intelligent, silicon-based life forms, emotional resonance from empathic energy beings, survival strategies from civilizations that had endured millennia of challenges. Humanity's contribution was unexpected. Not just technological prowess, but something more fundamental. Hope. The ability to imagine beyond current limitations, to see potential where others saw only obstacles. Kai and Luma became the loom upon which this cosmic defense was woven. Their bodies transformed, becoming a living interface between countless civilizations and the approaching void. The final moments were both cataclysmic and beautiful. Reality itself became a weapon. Potential became a shield. And at the center, 2 beings who had once been orphans discovered their true purpose. As the void consumed the outer edges of existence, the combined consciousness pushed back, not with violence, but with something far more powerful. Possibility. Moments before total dissolution, a breakthrough occurred. The void wasn't destroyed. It was transformed, redirected, given purpose. When silence returned, Kai and Luma stood alone in the chamber, changed, watching as new realities began to form, carrying the essence of every civilization that had fought to preserve existence. We are the bridge, they whispered, and the journey continues. Beyond the chamber, universes breathed, waiting, hoping, becoming.